Um, I've always had love for the game. I've always been a team-oriented guy. Not saying that Johnny wasn't, but I've quickly earned the respect of my teammates because of how I worked. You know, I wasn't given the natural talent that Johnny had, and because he's a talent, and there's a reason he got taken in the first round. Amazing player, and so we're just not the same mentally. Just wired differently. I didn't want to be portrayed as the villain or somebody like that. I feel like I make a lot of people happy. I do good things within my community. And not trying to say those cover up any mistakes that I've made, but there's always a learning curve when you're growing up.
CC, is it fair to compare Mayfield to Manziel?
No, it's never fair. It's never fair that you have to, based on whatever that your stats are on and off the field, like that you would have to have them compared to someone that, especially someone who hadn't been successful. Now, it's different when they make these comparisons to people who are successful. But when they pick out someone and they're like, man, this guy wasn't good, because we know the end result. So, of course, it's not fair. You know, are there going to be people that overcome the obstacles? Yes, but to compare him to someone, and it's not fair for the most part, because what we recently have found out, Johnny Manziel, he told us that he's been diagnosed with bipolar. So now to have Baker Mayfield, his whole career is in front of him. He has not shown us any signs of that Johnny has. So given all the information that I know about Johnny, I'd be like, absolutely no, it's not fair to compare Baker. All right, let's just look on the football field, like what he's done. Not last season, but in the last 3 seasons, 119 touchdowns, only 21 interceptions. I mean, that's amazing. A top 5 Heisman Trophy finish. 5 years in a row. The wins that he had at Oklahoma, not against opposition, just top ranked, but what he did on the road, when he took Oklahoma on the road, the teams he beat by carrying that football team and that program on its back. So, I mean, I think that he's going to be an outstanding player. I had the opportunity to spend some time with him before the Oklahoma Ohio State game this year. Very, very impressed of what he looks like as a football player, how he carries himself. He has the type of swagger and the type of leadership that you know. How do you know a leader? Because there's a bunch of guys behind him following him, and just seeing him and how he commanded the attention of his teammates and what he went about and the things, not on camera, but the things he did as a leader and talking to the coaching staff. I have 100% belief that he's going to be a quality NFL quarterback. He will be a franchise quarterback for someone. So I'm looking forward to his NFL career. And it's definitely not fair to compare him to someone who could not have a career, not only because of his ability, because he couldn't manage the time off of it and just socially being an NFL superstar.
Listen, of course it's not fair, but so much of what happens throughout the draft is not fair. Questioning a guy's dedication to a sport because he might also enjoy cooking classes is not fair. Questioning guys' IQ or their intellectual ability because of how they do or don't do on the Wonderlic test is not necessarily fair. There's a lot of stuff about the draft that is not fair. What I do understand is people trying to draw some comparison or draw something about, okay, who was Baker off the football field? Because there are legitimate reasons to say, okay, these are actual red flags. Much like Johnny only got in trouble with the law once in college. Now, we found out Johnny's dad was worried that he had a drinking problem in college. That obviously proved out to be true. Johnny also, as CeCe mentioned, had the bipolar disorder that he was trying to manage and unfortunately was not able to be successful in managing that. But if a GM says, okay, if a guy's going to be my quarterback and he makes a mistake and runs from the cops and gets arrested, I do need him to be on his best behavior moving forward because you have used your one free pass. And the crotch grabbing and the flag planting, while it doesn't really bother me, that is the type of behavior that tends to bother NFL scouts and GMs, especially when you know or should know you were already on notice. But if you can get past those things on the field, I don't think the Baker-Johnny comparisons work at all. I think the quarterback that's going to be draft pick this year that plays most like Manziel is actually Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar is none of the off-the-field stuff, but a guy that can run, that can throw. Baker can run, but was not a dynamic, like, oh, my God, running threat the way Manziel was. Baker set in consecutive seasons the passing efficiency all-time record in college football. He had, 3 top 5 Heisman finishes. Like, he was an extraordinary player on the field. And so I do understand the off-the-field concerns with Baker. Whether they're fair or not, I get why they're there because we've seen them for other people. On the field, the only concern I'd have is his height. His height and the fact that he played in the Big 12 in that system, and there's not a lot of quarterbacks that have come out of that system, come out of that university, come out of that conference for that matter, and had successful professional careers.
Mayfield, obviously, with the demonstrative behavior, as you talked about on the field, but is there anything he could do at this point to convince, obviously he's speaking about it, but convince NFL executives, coaches, that he is a different type of personality?
All he can do is go through the process. When he went to the Senior Bowl, people were very impressed with him. He'll go through the interview process, the workout process, have his pro day, all those things. No, that's all he can do. Go to the combine. Just be upfront about it. Just address everything. Be honest, because they know all the information. They know all the answers to the questions. Because, you know what, these will be questions not about football. Because who would want a quarterback to perform? Short throws, bubble screens, intermediate, throwing the ball deep, running the football, biding time, not turning the football over, like being a competent passer in the pocket, on the move. All those things he's done. In 3 seasons, he's been remarkable playing the position.
Let me ask one follow-up question about I've heard you talk about guys leaders and the guys that follow him. What have you seen that is the difference between a guy who does some of those histrionic things so people look at him, or does some of those things and his teammates rally behind him? Because I know you think he's more the latter than former.
Right, and then also talking to the administrative staff that's around the football team. They tell you a lot of things because I'm not covering the game. I was just there as a fan trying to find out because I knew this moment would arise. Man, what are they saying about Baker Mayfield? So let me get some of the intel. Talking to the wide receiver coach, talking to the guy that does the quarterback, talking to the guy that just does their player development. The things he does, he is a born leader. It is the it factor. You can't put a word to it, but when you see it, you know what it is. It's like a beautiful horse. It's like a pitcher that throws a ball. Like, you don't know what it is as far as adjectives, but you do know when you see it.
Beautiful horse. I like that.
We see it
right here.
right here.
I don't know where that is.
Coming up.